Hello all, very good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Good
Yeah,
evening.
yes. So how many good evenings I don't get? That many are not having a good evening. Should I guess like that?
Mm.
Yeah. Okay, right. So, yeah, obviously, see, it was a busy day for me too. It's not every Fridays are always busy, I know. So I'll keep things interesting. Maybe some more realistic examples, little bit of something more practical, okay, rather than boring all of you too much. And we'll stop sharp at 10. So we'll keep the questions also restricted to some time so that it's Friday, right? So don't want to keep everyone waiting. um yeah, so let's get started, but before I start strictly, for first 5 minutes I can take up some questions if anyone has anything to ask, one or two questions, then at the end we will speak. No questions? Okay. So today, our topic planned or the agenda planned is very interesting. uh, so how many of you are aware about architectural concepts, right? Like CDN, load balancer, app server, web server, these things. Raise your hands. So let's say if I ask someone, one of you, what's a CDN? You'll be able to answer it properly. Raise your hands. Who can do that? Okay, Srikanth, good. Murtuza, oh, nice. Nivedita, okay. That's really good, okay, because I had batches in the past who were not that aware about what's a CDN, but obviously time has come, like it has been passed, right? Like many people now are aware because they're working on these components also, and it's very critical component. These load balancer, CDN, middleware, then the app server, web server, and all those concepts, right? So we need to know very well because when we do performance testing also we need to know these things for a specific reason. Okay, that also we will discuss, like why as a performance tester I need to know the architecture of the application, what all things or what all components are there in the architecture of that application that I'm going to test, right? So all these questions as a performance tester I need to know, right? So that's what we will see. And also what we will see today is how you can run a very basic performance test. Even I will not call it a performance test, but a JMeter test. Okay, in JMeter, very basic. Like when I say basic, that means what I'm saying is there is no enhancements in the script, right? For example, you'd have heard some words like correlation, parameterization, timers, controllers. All these things won't be there now at this entry point. But a very basic test, like let's say you're testing an API or something, right? Very basically, only one component in your test script, right? Something like that. We will try to also run, right? So that we get a feel of how basically we run a test in JMeter. Maybe that's the objective we will satisfy today. Okay. And as we progress, we will slowly build over it. Okay. Because with the time that we have, that much is what I can plan for today. Okay. So let's jump into that. Okay. So when I say application architecture, so next 3, 4 days, right? Like what our agenda will be, we will understand various concepts, right? Like for example, when I am considering or when I am planning to test an application, I need to know few things regarding the application. Okay. So first is the application architecture. So whatever application I am going to test, let's say I am going to test, let's say some xyz.com. It is my application. So first of all, I need to be well aware about the application architecture, whether it's on cloud or on-prem, whether it is having a CDN or not, whether it is having a load balancer in between or not, whether it's having a middleware or not, whether it has app server, web server. Okay. And let's say whether it's and if it is on cloud, some other, like what are the services it has, right? What are the third party services which the architecture has? What are the customer interfaces that we have? Like for example, if we take the Pizza Hut, McDonald's and all, no, they have mobile application, they have desktop application, they also have kiosk, right? They can order burger through a kiosk, right? A machine in your McDonald's stores and all, you will see, right? There's a kiosk machine. So these things also you can do. So these are all customer facing apps, or like you can say the interfaces, right, through which the application can be accessed, right? And so all these things, so we need to know these things now to question these things before you start the performance testing. First of all, you need to be aware that these things are there in the market, right? So that's what we will do, right? We will try to understand all these things in detail, what they are, what is the purpose of having these things, how each of these affect the performance, because ultimately we are into performance testing. So we need to know how these things affect performance and how we what all we need to take care when we are doing performance testing for each of these components, right? And obviously there's a DB, right? On the DB server, what is happening, various other things, right? So we'll see this in the application architecture. Also, when we come to the now, this is more about like how the infrastructure of the application is. Now, when we speak about the software architecture, or like for example, the logical architecture, or the code or the APIs, right? In that sense, so there we will try to understand when we say what is a request, what's a response, what's an API, different types of APIs like like SOAP API, REST APIs. Then how this request components, like what's the path, URL, response codes, what is a body, how do you build a request, how do you what's the request response ultimately, right? All these things we will see. And because when you do this only, then you will be able to comfortably build a script in JMeter. Otherwise, you will always struggle because you will not know. Because if you don't know a request, you will not know what's a protocol. Now, what's a protocol also we will learn, right? So all these terminologies, nothing, I'm not expecting any of these words that I'm calling now, right? I'm not expecting that. It might be totally alien to you. That's totally fine. But after 4 days, or maybe down the line 5 days, all these things will be not an alien for you all. You'll be experts in that. Okay. Or maybe not experts, at least you will be in a good shape to explain, okay, what these things are and how it happens, right? Now, and in this, again, we'll have caching, cookies. Then we will have something on the encryption, decryption, various ways of single sign-ons and all, no, that we generally see in the applications. Um, all these things we will try to understand, and it will form the base for us to proceed further into creating JMeter scripts, recording JMeter scripts, enhancing JMeter scripts, and also in this process we will also keep learning what is actually performance testing, right? What all we do in performance testing, what all happens in performance testing, and all those things. Okay, so this is what we will be understanding overall in the next 4 to 5 days, right? And also we will at the same time do hands-on on the JMeter scripting parallelly, so that we don't get bored with too much of theory. Okay, am I audible to everyone? Can
Yes.
someone
Yes.
confirm? Right. So now next is in the J once we so what I generally do is I go parallelly so that we don't wait for whole theory to complete or whole practical to start, and all, not that way. Generally, I try to go parallelly with whatever concepts we have from theory and applying it in the practical sense, right? So in JMeter side also we will be understanding how do we record a basic transaction or a request into JMeter. How do we enhance in a basic way, like parameterization, maybe in the next 4 5 days, because it's as I said, JMeter itself will be around 20 to 25 classes, right? So it will be in depth, right? Like a lot of in depth concepts we need to learn. So so it will happen parallelly, okay? And also after some point of time, theory will be almost like maybe 10% of the sessions, 90% it will be more hands-on onto the JMeter scripting, right? Which we need to learn well before we jump into execution, analysis, reporting, and all. It will be very much extensively on the scripting side of JMeter, okay, which is where people struggle more, right? So we need to be good at that. Okay, so now coming to the first understanding, okay, or what we need to know. So how many of you are aware about different types of architecture that we have? One tier, two tier, three tier, and all. How many of you are aware? Just raise your hands. Any of you are aware, like, what do we mean by a three-tier architecture?
Maybe app server, web server, and database.
Okay. pretty close. So that's more technical, but in a fundamental way, right? Like, what do we mean by one tier or two tier or three tier or multi-tier, right? Obviously, nowadays we don't have, we have a lot of with microservices and all. It has become huge. Okay, it's not restricted to one, two, and three, but still, like, okay, I'm assuming that all of you are new to it. Okay, now let's try to quickly understand. Now, what we will try to understand, or what I'll explain, is how, like, what's the how the evolution of this architecture happened, okay, from one tier, two tier, three tier, and what do you mean by one tier, two tier, three tier? Okay, so let's start with one tier. Okay, so in one tier architecture, now if I want to explain what do, like, if I want to take some example from a real world scenario to understand what is a one tier. Now let's assume there is, now generally you will have this like in the olden days or even now also. So like for example, let's say there's a shopkeeper, okay, uh, and there is billing, there is storage, there he handles the customers, right? Let's say a small shop, okay. Inside that shop, he handles everything, like the shopkeeper, billing, storing the materials, handling the customer, everything he will be doing in that one place, the shop. So this is something called one tier architecture. Everything is in one place. Okay. So for example, in software, so the UI, logic, the database, all are on one machine. Nothing outside. Okay. It's all on used in very small or old systems, right? They use one tier architecture where everything is in the machine. Okay. Now, when I come to two tier architecture, what happens is, let's say there is a restaurant and a kitchen. So kitchen is here, restaurant is here. So customer sits in the restaurant, food is prepared in the kitchen. So the two parts are connected directly, but they have a separation, right? They are separate. So now in software, if you speak about that, like some database server, right? So where there is a UI and the UI is speaking to the DB. So this is a two-tier architecture. So data is in the DB and you have the UI separate. In a separate, I mean, like there's a separate boundary to both. Okay. Now coming to three tier. So in three tier, what happens is there is UI, there is your backend, which is your logic, right? Processing, and your DB. All three are separated. So UI is there, let's say a front end, right? In which your customer uses the application, and in backside, like let's say my customer clicked a button, let's say 1+1. So when he clicks the button, 1+1 should happen. Now that 1+1 code will be here, maybe using Java or C, whatever the code is written, and it will calculate it to 2. Okay, and it will store that 2 in the DB, the answer, and maybe it will print it back using the UI. So this is a three-tier architecture. Clear, all of you? What's a three-tier? Any doubts still here? Now my question to all of you is, where do you think our JMeter would be sending the load? Will the JMeter be sending the load to the DB or the backend directly? Generally,
Via the client, the UI.
UI, yes. Okay, you can. But generally, sometimes we can also ignore the UI. There's a reason
It
behind
will be
that.
backend, and from backend to the DB, whatever.
Exactly. Exactly.
DB-related processing is done.
Yes. So this backend, when we say no, generally we call that as application layer. Okay. Application layer in three-tier architecture. When there's a three-tier architecture, we call the backend as an application layer and UI as the presentation layer, because you're presenting no something to the user. That's why it's called a presentation layer. And obviously DB is the database layer, right? So where the data is stored. Okay. Now, any doubts still here? So these are the different types of architecture. Now there are multi further also. Okay. So when the microservices and all we will see that time, we will try to understand. Okay. So now coming to the a basic, a normal architecture, a general architecture that you will see in most of the, let's say, an e-commerce application. Okay. I'm just assuming there's an e-commerce application like Amazon. So let's start from the most backside or the last component, okay, which is generally always the DB server or the DB. Okay. I will explain you what is DB server. And whenever when we say DB, it's actually a DB server. Okay. Because server will be always there to serve. I will explain you what's a server soon. Okay. The DB server will be there. Then actually I'm starting from the most smallest component, okay, at the back. And then we will have, let's say, app or web server or both. Okay. I'll explain what they are. And then we will have, now let's say this thing, right? This whole thing is sitting on an EC2 or a system or a basic CPU, I can say. Okay. And this is like, let's say machine one. Okay. Like that I can have more than one machines also. Okay. Now let's say these three machines, right? You can just, when I say machines, these are all like our laptops, right? With only thing is without screen. Just assume like that. Without screen, it has an SSD, it has a CPU, it has a RAM, right? And in machine one, machine two, machine three are separate machines. Okay. Why I'm not using the word nodes or EC2 or instances and all, we will learn when we understand cloud. Okay. I will start using that words. And all these things generally, let's say three machines are there, can be on the cloud or on premise. Now, what this cloud and on premise also we will learn. Okay, slowly. Now, from here, my request, let's say there's one more machine here, let's say M4, which is my in which my load balancer is running. Okay, and after load balancer, I mean like before load balancer, there will be a component called middleware. I'm not saying that all systems or all applications will have this structure. Okay, there are some optional components also, which is not needed always. Okay, then this will be a CDN, and CDN I'm not putting a machine number for now because generally CDNs are third party. Okay, that also I will explain why CDNs are generally third party. And then we have our, let's say, our mobile app, our desktop application, website, our kiosk machine, all those. So are you all able to imagine till here? So what I'm trying to say here is simple. Okay. Think as if you are traveling. Okay. You are traveling. Just a moment. Think as if you are traveling. Okay. So you start the travel from here. First, let's say that traveling that I'm doing is I am sending something and I want to get something. Okay. So let's say I am saying Amazon to place an order. Okay, like I have clicked on a button to place the order, like buy now or something. Okay, just clicking on buy now on Amazon. So this buy now will travel first. See, it will go till middleware. In middleware, something will happen. Load balancer, something will happen. Then it will enter one of these machines. Okay, based on something. Okay, and then after processing, so the processing of the code will happen inside these machines. Okay, if data is needed, it will pick the data. Like for example, now I am placing an order, right? So what is that order, that product's cost, right? Or what is the user who is trying to order it, what is the user's order history, right? All those things will be stored in my DB. So if any detail is needed, it will pick from the DB. If not needed, in the app server, web server itself, the processing and all everything will happen. And after processing, again that processed data will travel back and reach your UI through which you started. So when it reaches back, it might be your order is placed or something. Right? So this is how the traveling happens of some event or action when you do in an application. Are you getting the point, all of you? Can you raise your hands? I'm not expecting to be you all to be an expert, but in a high level way, what I'm trying to convey. Just raise your hands. Let's see how many of you. So simple, right? Like I'm going from, let's say, Pune to Mumbai, or let's say I'm just traveling in my home, right? Inside my flat. First hall will come, then kitchen will come, then bedroom will come. Then I go and pick my, let's say, my laptop from my bedroom, right? Where I had kept it before I slept, or maybe, right? So I'll pick the laptop, come back because I want to work on my laptop by sitting maybe in some garden somewhere. Okay, so I want to pick the laptop, right, and go outside. So I will travel through all this and come back through all this with the laptop. While going, I was not having the laptop. While coming, I will have the laptop in my hand, right? So this thing, right, in application also the same way things happen. It goes through all these components and come back, and each component will do its work that it has to do, right? Because these each component is sitting not there uselessly, right? They are doing something, right? So, for example, let's say you are entering a society. First, let's say main gate security is there. You will have to show the number or whatever. Then once you get into the building, there's a lift. So the work of the lift is to take you up and down, right? And then once you reach in front of the flat, there is a calling bell or maybe the ring bell, right? Which you click so that the user knows that the flat owner knows that someone is waiting outside the flat. So every component, the security, let's say is the CDN, lift is the middleware, load balancer, let's say is the ring bell, and like that each component has a importance, right, of the whole story that's going to happen. Okay, and we will see that how. Okay, so now when I say this, right, for example, when I click buy now, so let me go to an application very quickly. Okay, so let's say this is amazon.com. Now right click, okay, and click on inspect. If anyone is not knowing how I am opening this window, okay. So what I did is I just right clicked, inspect. Okay, very simple way. Now in this Chrome Dev tool, we call it generally. Okay, it's called Dev tools. There are various tools provided by Chrome or browser. Okay, every browser has it one or the other way. Little UI and all will change, but they provide it. Okay, so there's elements where you see the whole HTML code and all. Okay, that is coming for this website. Okay, in console you will see some JavaScript errors or any warnings which are related to client side. Okay, that's why I specifically said JavaScript. Now, what is client side? What is server side? These things also we will learn. Okay, soon. sources. So what all files and all it access, no, the images and all those things you will be able to see in the sources section. In network, this is very critical uh, section for a performance tester, even an UI tester, even any tester, okay, who is testing a web application. Now, why this is very important? Because this is where you will see what action you are performing, right? For example, let's say now I am clicking on this coffee, okay? So see, just with now, okay, let's assume, let me to show you one thing. Let's say I'm clicking on this button, add to cart, okay? Okay, once and I click on go to cart. See, when I clicked on go to cart, you can see this request or there is something that went from here to the server of Amazon.com. Server means where the Amazon.com code, your cloud code is running, right? So automatically, what I'm doing, trying to do here is um, whatever action I am trying to perform, right? Buying or adding to cart, I am saying it to Amazon to do it. That is the meaning of request. I am requesting Amazon to do it. Now, this click I am doing here in my browser, which is a client, right? So where you are doing it is the client, and where it is going, from where the processing and all those things will happen, that is a server. Okay. Now, when I clicked on this proceed to checkout or whatever button I clicked, one request will go to the server from the client. Okay. So that's what happened. Now, this is the same thing that we are seeing here. When I said, when I click buy now, right? So what happens now? Let's say this request in front of you, only this much is there, right? But in background, what will happen is when you click this, actually what is happening is now, how many of you know what's a DNS? Anyone here who is aware what's a DNS? Yeah, so now onwards, Murtuza will not answer. Yeah, just kidding. Murtuza, you can always answer, okay? Just yeah, Deepika, you are aware what's a DNS? Can you explain very quickly what's your understanding?
Yeah, actually, it gives the host. So we just give like the Amazon.com, but the servers or the computers that has it will not have the Amazon.com. So it will give you an IP address. So it comes back to our laptop, and that IP address goes and hits the servers or the load balancers. Then it understands where to hit. So it's a domain name.
Okay,
It
yes.
holds everything.
Yeah, pretty much close. Okay, so let me explain it in a very simple way. Now, before I jump into that, we are using this word server many times, right? Server. We are saying DNS, which is a domain name server. Similarly, database server, app server, web server. Now, what do we mean by server, right? Like server means like what is it a waiter or something, right? What's a server? So server is nothing but as the name suggests, right? So if I want to explain server, okay, in a real practical way, let's say um, we have something like so a server is nothing but in a computer, okay, its work is to serve something safely, okay, simple. So let's say if I have a locker, okay, let's say I have a locker, and let's say money is there in that locker, and the locker is locked, okay. I'm very bad at drawing, but yeah, just you can imagine, okay, the locker is locked. Now what will happen is, let's say I need to uh, withdraw some money from here. Okay, so there is one person standing here who has the key, who actually, whenever someone comes for money, he will try to take the money from the locker and give it to that guy based on whatever papers or what things he will show. Okay. Now, if the papers are wrong, whatever this guy is showing, A is showing, will B give the money? What do you think?
No.
No, B will not give the money, right? So, unless A is not providing that proper paper or whatever is needed, okay, so that we can give what A is asking, we will not give the money, it will remain locked, right? So server is also something like that, right? So, yeah, we ask server something, right? Or our client, right? So in our case, this A is our client, right? For example, the Chrome, Google Chrome or Internet Explorer or mobile app, they are all A client. So now my client is asking for something like placing an order or login or whatever. Okay, my client is asking. Now, if the login is proper, like it's properly following some rules and all, what my server will do, it will give the response back after processing or whatever, right? Because here also he has to open the key, take the money, some things he's doing, right? And he's giving it back, the money, right? Same thing will happen. If someone is sending a request, some processing and all will happen and the response will come, right? And this is server. Now, based on what it is giving or what it is storing, right? Or what it's doing, there are various servers. DB server, can someone say what it serves or what it gives or what it tries to protect safely?
Data.
Database. Exactly. For database, you have a database server, DB server, right? So whatever database is there, that database gets the access to the network or that proper secured access to the network for a database is happening through a DB server like Oracle, MySQL. There are various DB servers, right? Now let's say I'm running a PHP code. Okay, a code is there. I have to run that PHP code. Then we have the web server or the app server. So so the code and all is run by the web servers or app servers, and after running, it will give the response back to the client, right? Similarly, you might have DNS, as I said, domain name server. We call it domain name server. So domain name servers are nothing but these servers are responsible to properly map IP to the domain. Now, when I say IP to the domain, what do you mean by that? So, let's say when I'm entering Amazon.com, actually, when I'm entering Amazon.com, I am entering some number like this. Okay, but are you typing number or are you typing this? What are you typing? Which is easy
URL.
for you? Which is easy for you?
Amazon.
Amazon.com, right? Can someone remember this number every time for multiple websites? No, very difficult, right? So that's why people, what they did, this is the domain and this is the IP. They will map it. So if anyone enters the domain, automatically it will go to that IP, wherever that IP is in the world. So that this activity, right, this proper activity of domain to IP mapping is handled by the DNS, domain name server. That server, right? So servers are ultimately doing one or the other activity, serving various things, right? So for now, whenever I use server, remember that. Okay. So there are various servers, DNS, web server, app server, DB server. So all these are serving various things. Okay. Now coming to this whole thing, okay, this the DNS concept. So how this happens? I'll give maybe 20 seconds to just digest whatever we spoke till now. Okay. I'm giving 20 seconds for that so that you can all quickly just think in your mind what all we spoke, and maybe try to revisit or revise, right, in your mind, and think if anywhere you are getting stuck or you are getting doubt, okay, so that you can
Can
type
we
it.
also discuss DC in short domain controller?
So your voice broke.
We can discuss DC also in short domain controller.
Yes, yes, surely. We will come to
Okay.
that. We come to that. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Right. So any questions still here? Anyone has? Now one domain controller. Okay. Next, anything else? Okay. Right. Now let's, in a very basic way, understand how things work on internet or the network. Right. Whenever you do something. So let's say I am typing Amazon.com in my Chrome. Okay. I am typing Amazon.com in my client or Chrome. Now going forward, I will use the word client. Okay, when I say client, it can be the Chrome browser that I have, or any browser, Internet Explorer, Firefox, any browser, or your mobile app through which you are trying to access the application, or any kiosk machine or whatever, right? It all these things will be client. Okay, right. So let's say I'm opening Amazon.com. Now, what happens, right? As soon as I type in Amazon.com, there is an activity called DNS lookup that will happen. Now, what do we mean by DNS lookup, right? Let's say I bought a domain Vishnu.com. Can someone say why I said I bought a domain Vishnu.com? Why did I say that?
Because you need to purchase it.
Register.
Exactly. We need to
Yes.
purchase because let's say um, Martuza purchased a website, Vishnu.com. Okay. And now I go and try to purchase Vishnu.com. Should I be allowed to buy? Should I be allowed? So already, let's say Martuza buyed it. Okay. Now I am going and trying to buy Vishnu.com from, let's say, GoDaddy. GoDaddy is one, you would have heard, seen this advertisement every time. Buy the domain,
You are
domain
allowed.
buy, right? Sold out. Yes. When I try to buy it, no, I cannot buy because the owner is Murtuzan. But here is the catch. This happens globally, isn't it? Not in India alone. If I go to US, can I buy Vishnu.com?
No.
There also it will show sold only, right?
Yes, sold.
It's all globally, right? So that means there is some organization who is keeping this register, right? Who who has what? Who has bought what domain? Who is the owner of a domain globally? Can I say that?
Yes.
Yes, right. So this is where things become like we can understand what do we mean by DNS lookup, right? So in the DNS lookup, what will happen is when I type Amazon.com, it will go and my browser or the all the browsers or the clients, whatever, right? They will go and check this register. Okay, they know that the browsers know how to do that, and it will match this. I mean, like the Amazon.com is on which provider, like GoDaddy, or there are a lot of providers, Hostinger, whatever, right? And from here, it will redirect to that specific registrar page, registrar, and in that registrar, what will happen? No, there that register in that, I mean, like software, that application which that GoDaddy or Hostinger gives, there will be a section where we have the DNS records. we call it DNS records. Okay. So let's say now I am the owner of Amazon.com. I open GoDaddy and I will have a section called DNS records. Okay, where I will have a table where I can add my DNS records. So there is something called an A record. And let's say an IP. Okay. So this A record, and I will also provide an IP. Now, what is this IP? 3.1.1. This is the IP of the machine in which my server or the code is running. Are you getting all of you? So if I, let's say Amazon.com, obviously Amazon.com is an application running in one machine, no? Can I say that?
Yes, you mean internal IP.
Yes. Actually, this IP is external IP, not internal IP.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say here is, so this is more sort of like, let's say if I have my laptop, if I put IP config, I can see my IP, my laptop IP. Okay. If you see here, see, this is my laptop IP. So similarly, every machine connected to the internet or the network has an IP. Okay. So that IP, I mention it here and as an A record. Okay. So automatically, whenever someone enters Amazon.com, they will automatically go to 3.1.1.1. Now the beauty is I entered Amazon.com, DNS lookup happens. So IP we get. Okay. So now obviously that machine, now I am actually directed to that machine in which my code or my application is running server, right? And once that is done, automatically connection is established, right? So that is why whenever, so this whole procedure, right, is very important because if this DNS lookup is slow, will my website be slow loading? Will it be slow?
Yes.
Yes, it will be slow. That is why if you go here also, if I open some website, if I go to timing, there will be a section where you will see these things, waiting for server response. Similarly stalled. Okay, let me reload it again for you all. Now here, what would have happened? No, we have already loaded Amazon.com. So DNS would have been cached. Okay. So now I'm not doing caching. Okay. So that's, you are able to see now? DNS lookup? Able to see? Hello? All of you? Now it took only 8
Yes.
milliseconds. See how fast the Amazon DNS lookup is. Now if I open some other application which is hosted on GoDaddy or something, for example, GoDaddy. Okay, maybe some application, okay, which is not okay. Let's say shopping. I'm just opening some WordPress application or which is not that big. All are big. Okay, let me go to some ninth page. Poor guys who would have not done SEO. Okay, let's come here. I don't know who these people are, but let's go here and let's see how much time they're taking in the DNS lookup. Okay, because looks like they might be a small retailer. I'm just assuming. Okay, never heard of this brand. Now let me reload. Theirs is there also. It is fast only, not bad. But yeah, what I'm trying to say is generally, see here it took 114 milliseconds. Able to see? Hello, all of you?
Yes.
Right? Now the total time it took is 250 milliseconds. Out of that 115 milliseconds it took for DNS lookup. So isn't it a very important time or not? I mean like factor contributing. Can I say that?
Yes.
Because almost 50 percentage, right? The total it took is 250 millisecond for this specific let's say I'm saying the request or the transaction. Okay, out of that 115 millisecond DNS lookup took. So that is why that is also very important, right? Whenever you are doing performance testing and all, such sort of issues also you need to be always looking into, right? Such small things also, not always okay. JMeter is showing a response time, that's it. We have to go in depth, right? We have to find out the breakdown like this. How much SSL took? We will understand what's an SSL soon. Initial connection, what it is, request send, waiting for server response, content download, what these things are, right? So then only we will be able to optimize it. Now, when I optimize each of these, so let's say for example, I'm just reloading this page again. So when I reloaded this page, totally around maybe five, four, six, okay, five requests I made to the server. Okay. So this five requests will contribute to the total load of this page, the time. So that is this one. You can see here, right? 15 point. So total it took 54, 188. So this addition, if you do, you will get the time. Now, why you are seeing 15 or 20 seconds here is because I have filtered it with the doc. I'll explain you why I am looking into only doc. So if I remove doc and if I keep all, actually there are other things also like the script, images, style sheet, and all those things, right? The font and these things, right? All these things together. Now, if you see, if I just sort it with the time taken, you will see that there is one this request, okay, which is more sort of like a some API request, which has taken the most of the time. It's took 2.3 seconds, right? So yes, so such analysis you need to do, okay, and that DNS lookup is that one important thing which the application starts off with. Okay, now coming back, so that's the DNS. Okay, now, what's a domain controller also we will come after some time, okay, because I need to create one base before I can explain that. But surely I will remember and I will come back on this, okay? So I'm not forgetting, okay? Surely I'll explain that once we finish what's a CDN and load balancer, okay? Right. So coming back, so that's what happens when you enter Amazon.com or Vishnu.com or Flipkart.com, right? It goes to a DNS lookup, it starts the process, and whatever is happening right inside my server, that also you can see. If you go here, if I go to timing again, so this section, right, this request send, waiting for server response, content download, these are the sections which is actually due to your server issue. This section, right, the connection start, this section is due to your network issue. This section, resource scheduling, okay, this is due to the resources like the images and all, no? So for as a performance tester, this request response section, right, this is the section which is very, very important for us, because that is where actually you can optimize or tune or manipulate or whatever, right, you can do, because these sometimes are not in our control, like the network. Now, how can I control network? Only the speed I can improve, or maybe the latency I can reduce. Now, all these things all see again, if I use some alien words like latency and all, as we progress in the course, I will be explaining those things. Okay, no need to worry that I am using those words, because there's no other word to call it out. Sometimes that technical things come out. Okay, so network, nothing much I can do, right? Only these things I can do. Resources also, images, how much I can reduce. If I reduce it further, it might become blur. So only optimization, that main optimization I can do it is on the server, on the code that I have written, right? So that is this section, request response section. Okay. So all these things we will see, okay, in detail slowly. Okay, right. So yeah, that's a DNS lookup. Any doubts, anyone till now?
Yeah, Vishnu, I have one question. So
Yes,
how
Vikas.
come the Amazon's DNS
Yeah,
is faster than the other website? Because
very
I guess everyone is
exactly.
querying the central registrar, right? So
Mhm.
I'm just curious.
That's a very good question. Okay, so you can. That is where two things come into picture. One is the caching, right? The DNS caching. Second is the CDN concept. Okay, that I will explain. Okay, so in the next session, Srikanth.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah.
These URLs are encoded, right? That complete URL when you click on the cart, like till the end, that is
This one,
encoded.
this one you're saying?
The URLs are encoded, right? Like
Yeah.
amazon.com/cart in the end, like the sub part,
So here,
cart
here,
question mark
here it's
REF. Yes.
yeah, yeah. Here it's not encoded. It's a normal. They are using some filters. Okay, encoding will
Okay.
come. Encoding, for example, if you go down, this might be encoded. The token, see,
Yes.
okay, these things might be encoded. That is just they have given a filter.
This same token I cannot use to call the API, right? This is encrypted one.
This token, yes,
The
this
bearer
one,
token. Yes.
yes,
Okay.
yeah. This is coming from the login actually.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So, yeah. So this, due to some, but that's totally fine. Like, if you were not aware about the DNS and all, little extra time we had to spend on that. Sorry for that because I wanted to start CDN load balancer, and all, but anyways, we are not here to hurry, right? We are here to learn. So, and even as I say, I don't worry about hours and all. Even if it goes beyond 40 hours, also, if it happens fruitfully, productively, so that all of you are able to learn it, right? Something very well. I'm totally happy about that. Okay, I'm not at all counting on hours and all. Always here to just support you all in whatever you need, how much ever I can in my capacity to give you, right? So doing that. So tomorrow in the next session, so next session will be on Monday. We will be continuing with the CDN load balancer, and load balancer is such an important concept, which as a performance tester you have to 100% know. So there are some concepts which cannot be ignored by a performance tester. One is load. Such concept is load balancer, similar and auto scaling, then caching, cookies. So some concepts like that. Okay, which is very very critical to know, and that we will learn. Okay, very well. And also, as we progress, we will learn this performance, different types of testings and all, no? And that also will come. So don't worry that I didn't call out those. Like we spoke about stress testing and all, but that basics we need to build before that, right? So that we are building now before we can jump into those. Yeah, yeah, Deepak, please go ahead.
Yes, in the beginning you said one tier architecture. So is it monolith architecture and two tier architecture is client server architecture? Can we say that?
So monolithic you cannot see. Monolithic means generally people use it with the cloud and like that, right? So traditional cloud like that. So don't use the word monolithic, but one tier means like some application which is running in your machine, no, like Windows softwares and all, right? So those you can call it as one tier, and file servers are there that you can call it two tier, right? Where like you, if for example you had some central repository from where you used to pull the files, no, everyone together,
Yes.
so that can be a two tier where you have that central file disk, you are connecting to your system and you are downloading the files. Deepak, yeah.
So this can be classified by hosting, like a one tier application is hosted on one single machine or one single server. Two tier is on two separate servers. Three tier on three servers, like that, or no?
Server, yes, okay, but don't confuse server with machine, okay, because let's say my in my laptop I can run four servers,
Yes.
okay, but this four server will be then for it's more sort of like a four tier architecture
Okay. Okay. Got it.
on a single machine. So servers will
Okay.
be different. Okay. So yeah. And with the advent of this containers, Docker, and all, no, it has become like I mean, like you can run lot of things in a single machine. Small things, obviously, in a single machine. Like for example, with the containers, you can run 4 to 5 version of let's say some software like Google Chrome 1, Google Chrome 2, Google Chrome 3, 4, all in same machine. That you cannot do now.
Yes,
No.
you can simulate the environment. Yes.
Correct. Yes. Okay. So that all these things we will learn. Okay. When we go to Kubernetes, it will be very interesting to know. Like after this course, you all will feel so confident, no, to be in the industry because even when the developers speak, all these things you will know already, right? So you will have that confidence to speak to them also without getting embarrassed and all, right? And that confidence is what I have seen most of the people lack, right? And once you get that confidence, automatically growth will come because you'll be confident in speaking to people, speaking to a lead, speaking to um, I mean, like whoever concerned, right? Like your leads and all. So that confidence is what we need to gain from the knowledge that we are trying to get here. Okay. So that's what I'm expecting also. So before we leave after this session, maybe after 40 days or 45 days, we are together, right? I should see that change in all of you, not only in the knowledge or the technical side, but also how you ask questions, how you interact internally with this, let's say with this team here, right? We speak with each other. I should see that change in all of you, okay? Like, because ultimately you have to improve skills as well as soft skills, okay? So try to improve both. Automatically wonders will happen. Okay.
Like I would like to say one thing. Basically, the developers sometimes you log valid defects, but they
Hmm.
try to fool you some other way. So if you are having all
Yeah.
this knowledge, they will not be able to fool you.
Exactly. Yes. Yes. And you can show that authority also sometimes. Okay. Because generally organizations love QAs who stick to a bug or stick to a problem and try to go to the root cause and solve it. Okay. Let it take multiple days or let it take a lot of time. They love such QAs. But generally, what happens with the QAs is they fall for the developers' words and all that we cannot go somewhere, cannot do much further, and they close the bug and things go on like this. And what happens in a long run is then the client loses the what I can say, uh, that belief that you can find some issue and solve it and optimize and save some dollars for them, right? So this is one another reason, right? Like you should not come in the words of that developers, right? You need to be aware about what you are doing or what you are testing, what and think about very logically, right? So all these things, we obviously with time we will learn. Okay. And some obviously I cannot teach you, right? Some soft skills related stuff and all, but with the knowledge you will automatically get it. Okay. With the technical skills that you gain, automatically you will also become confident in speaking to anyone. Okay. Especially architects and all, you should actually, I will suggest everyone to speak to such people, right? Like architects and all, whenever you get time regarding what application you're working and all, you'll get a lot of knowledge from them. And they are generally, I've seen architects and all, very rarely they will be not interested in answering if if you ask a very good question, right? Your question quality also matters, right? So they are very happy to answer such things, right? So okay, any questions, anyone? Actually, it's almost 10. As I promised, I will stop fast today. I don't want to keep you all holding. It's a good weekend ahead. Any doubts, any questions? I will take one more last question.
Vishnu,
Okay.
this is
Yeah, yeah.
Srikanth, sorry.
Yes, Vinay. Yeah, sure, sure.
So I work for an insurance client. I'm a performance engineer. I was working for 10 years. So we have this three-tier architecture. We have the digital front end, and then we have guidewire backend.
Yeah.
Because our volumes are quite low, being an insurance client, not a
Hmm.
retail client, the business is more focused on learning about what the end-to-end client experience would be. So I've been using this LoadRunner True Client Protocol browser-based testing, right? So
Yeah.
they get to know like what the end-to-end response time is. Now, if I wanted to fit in JMeter, again, it's all about budget, right? If I propose
Mhm.
JMeter and say, hey, I'd be saving those 55 or 60K dollars, like you mentioned,
Yeah.
they would definitely be happy. But again, here the focus is on like end user response
Right.
times, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
with JMeter, do you think we'll be able to jump one layer before and get that end-to-end, whatever I'm currently reporting using the True Client? Or is it just hitting the back end request response, request response?
Yeah, so see, since you're using TrueClient, I expect it might be a UI heavy application, right? Maybe
Right.
you're
Yeah.
saying, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so and also that could be a reason. So in JMeter, you will have to use some WebDriver, some Selenium WebDriver, some driver. I mean, like it's not straightforward because in JMeter, true client you do using a Selenium WebDriver. Okay, it's a plugin which we use. You can do that. Yeah, there's no issues there. Since you said it's a low volume also, right? Volume is too
Right.
low.
Yeah. Yeah.
You can actually do it. Initial little bit of setup you will have to do some hard work
Mm-hmm.
that technical side, but obviously you're saving some money for them, no? So
Right.
that is expected. That little bit of time from you, no? So
Okay.
yeah, that's a good. I mean, like good direction. Actually, you can do. Only thing is you will have to spend some time on that. Yes,
Right.
switch a tool. Yeah,
Yeah. Thanks.
sure. Okay, yeah, then thank you all. Have a very good weekend, and thank you all for joining and giving you your valuable time to me. And I hope I was also like I could justify the time that you gave me, and I was able to give you something new from yesterday, right? Yesterday you didn't know it, today you know it, something like that, right? So yeah, then thank you all, and have a very good weekend. Take good care of your health, stay maximum away from the digital life if possible, at least for one day. On Sunday, be with family, enjoy your day, and come back with full energy on Monday. Thank you all. Have a good weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you.